But the thing is that we have this thing where we're like fighting cancer. Are we going to beat this thing? Like, and we put it in the Lord's hands, but we don't know the Lord, right? We don't even know the Lord. So it's just if you beat cancer and you are not in the truth, it's just because of the mercy of the Most High, because you do not know the Lord. You don't know the ways of the Most High according to the Bible, right? If you could give me the one with he that turneth his way from hearing the law, even his prayer is abomination.
Right.
The thing about it is, man, like we are steadfast in Christianity, and we think that everything that is bad is of the devil, when the Lord is bringing these plagues. The Lord is this is happening. COVID-19, monkeypox, and what you said,
Langya. Right.
These are pestilences, right? Go ahead.
The book of Proverbs 28:9. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination.
There you go, right there. The Most High. Listen, you turn your. Give me Matthew 4:7. You turn your ear from hearing the law, which many Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people do not give a damn about following God's law. They only follow their own lust and their own feelings, in their pastor and their priest. You turn your ear from hearing the law, even the things that you pray about are vile to the Most High. The same way that the Bible says that a man sleeping with another man is vile. It's a vile affection, meaning it's disgusting to the Most High. And so we caught up in the loop thinking that our prayers actually mean something, or that we made it, or we beat cancer, or we beat COVID-19. When in reality, you just are very, very fortunate, and the Lord is merciful. That's it. Because your prayers absolutely did nothing for you when you had that disease or you had that illness. That's not what got you through. The mercy of the Most High, of you being silly, stupid, and dumb, in the mercy of the Most High is what actually got you through, right? Got you through that whatever illness you think you beat, whatever illness you think your doctor beat with chemotherapy, or your doctor beat with this new medication. The Lord is the one that gets you through any of the things, and he's also the one that brings these things, these plagues on America. And this is a time for Black and Hispanic and Native Indian people to actually look at their life and to fear the Lord. You should be in great fear of the Lord, the same way that you're in fear when you take off on an airplane, the same way that you're in fear when you're on a boat and you see the magnitude of the ocean. Well, the Lord created all those things and the Lord is something that you can't see, but you should fear him. Go ahead.
I had a precept.
Go ahead.
Lamentations chapter 3, verse 22. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed.
It's because of the Most High that we are not consumed. And there's so many things that's trying to consume us. From the time that the Pilgrims arrived here on North America, they've been trying to consume us, right? Like Kazak Yah says it all the time. The so-called Caucasian man or the white man is a virus, right? He's a virus. And from the time that he had landed on these shores or came to North America, we have been consumed. Native American Indians have been consumed, right? Hispanic people, Mexicans, Aztec Indians have been consumed, right? There's so many things, not just our oppressor, but the things of our flesh,
right?
The things that we want to do,
right?
Drugs, addictions, alternative lifestyles, hating one another. We are consumed by those things. Those things will kill you. Those things will drive you to an early grave, right? Captain Katazai said, niggas never learn until they laying in the urn. We are consumed by our flesh, the lust of our eyes, and all of the, not only just the things we do, but also we have a common enemy. Our common enemy is the seed of Esau, or Edom, or who you know today as the so-called man or the Caucasian man or whatever you want to call him, you actually do have an enemy, right? But we are consumed. And if it wasn't for the mercy of the Most High, we would be all but gone. We would be an extinct people. They already put Native American Indians in museums, right? They literally put Native Indian people in their family life on display in museums, right? But if it wasn't for the Lord, we would actually be gone and wiped off the earth. Was that it? Read it one more time. I don't want to miss anything on that. That was a heavy precept.
Lamentations chapter 3, verse 22. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not.
That's it.
Okay.
The Lord's compassions fail. His compassions fail not. The Lord is a man of war, but he's also great in mercy.
Right.
And so even in our ignorance and our stupidity and us thinking that we got it right, or us, saying, oh, I read the Book of the Dead, or, there's so many ideologies that we as Black and Hispanic people go into thinking we know better. Thinking we know better than anybody.
Right.
Right. The Lord's compassion is what keeps us alive.
Right.
Right. And if it wasn't for that, we would be destroyed. We would literally be wiped off the planet Earth. At that time, what could need with you? They don't need you. You done worked in a field and picked cotton. You done made them a superpower. What in the hell do they need you for, right? Other than to twerk and to dunk a basketball.
Right.
That's all they need you for, right? But the Lord needs you to turn to Him and face the east and remember who you are in a strange land, in America, in the West Indies, in Europe, wherever you may be, to assist people to those dry bones to raise up, you understand, and to remember who they are and to serve Him, man, and stop thinking that you're doing things on your own. To stop thinking that is of you, that you done beat something. You can't beat what the Lord is bringing. The Lord is bringing these plagues, and we done said it 1,000 times in the ISUK, 1,000,000 times since 1969 that these things were going to come. These things were going to happen, right? And the hysteria is going to come back. That hysteria, double one, that people had when they couldn't get toilet paper, oh, that's coming back.
Right.
That's back.
Right.
Like the Lord is going to let up, right? You know what I mean? That there's a new hysteria, monkeypox, and then I don't even know. I haven't seen a video on what the what is it does the symptoms is for this langa. I don't know what it may be.
Right.
But if you could give me the one with the boils.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, I got it.
This is prophesy, man.
I got it.
I had a sister talking about on my timeline talking about you need to put the Bible down. What she's just saying, you need to put the Bible and the Quran and pick up the Book of the Dead. What in the hell is in the Book of the Dead? It's called the Book of the Dead. The
Right.
Most High Yahweh is the book. He's the power of the living.
Right.
He's the God of the living. So what were we talking about? The Book of the Dead. That should tell you something right off, right? Because whatever the Egyptians were thinking about when they're thinking about the afterlife, that sure didn't help them from keeping their land to themselves and Egypt not being destroyed. The Bible prophesied the destruction of Egypt. It said it would happen. It even said where it would come from. It would come from the north. And it came two times. It came from the Assyrian Empire and from the Romans or the Greeks, the Ptolemies. Go ahead.
If I could, like, people bring up Egypt, you should be Kemetic, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. But my thing is, where was Ra and Opus and Osiris when the Most High moved on Egypt? Those guys weren't there to defend Egypt.
Right.
The Most High showed that they are not no gods. And those plagues were mocking those guys. Each plague was a direct attack.
A direct attack. Each plague, what the brother brought out, each direct attack Egypt of what they believed in.
Right.
Right. And those gods could not help them. They could not save those Egyptians. And Black and Hispanic people, I'm gonna get into that today. I'm gonna go over that a little bit of that today. Well, Black people, particularly, you think you Pan-African and you think you African and you think you were the Egyptians. You wasn't no goddamn Egyptians. We were not the Egyptians. The Egyptians had you in slavery. The Egyptians had you as the working class, just like you are here in America. You are the working class, or what they would call back then they would call them a hand, a slave. You are a hand, right? And you was working for bread and beer living in Goshen and living in Avaris, right? These are records that, you know, Black and Hispanic people, you won't even pick up a book to even actually look and see that, nigga, you was not Egyptian. They had you in slavery. That's I brought it out in the class prior to this. That's the reason why Egypt had that. I'm sorry. That's the why America has, you know, obelisk to monument.
Right.
That's the reason why Lincoln is sitting down just like Ramses, like a pharaoh in the Washington monument. That's the reason why you have a pyramid on your dollar bill, because they set up a kingdom just like ancient Egypt. That's what they did. And they not only just set the kingdom up like that, they had God's chosen people, just like in Egypt, work enslaved to build the kingdom and built all the beautiful cities that you see today, right? What else did I want? I wanted Matthew
4 and 7.
4 and 7, or it was a 24 and 7.
Oh, you want 24 and 7?
Let me know if 24 and 7. 24 and 7.
I could have misheard you slightly. Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom.
Right.
And there shall be famines and pestilences.
There shall be famines and pestilences. Not too long ago, there was a famine. There was a shortage on baby formula, right? There was a shortage
formula
on baby formula,
Enfamil.
on Enfamil, right? And a lot of Europe had to donate to America some crates of Enfamil, and that wasn't even going to the stores. That was going to go to like hospitals, right? Read that part again. That second part of the precept about the famine and pestilence.
And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
Salakia. Pestilences. COVID-19 was a pestilence. Monkeypox is a pestilence. And what else is a new one? I'm finna say Yanga. Langa is a pestilence. These are clear signs. Now, the Book of the Dead and whatever other ideology Black people, Hispanic people believe in cannot give you the clues to what's going on, cannot give you a blueprint to what's happening right now on the earth. The Bible is the only book, the only document, the only records that can actually not only give you your heritage, give you your identity, give you your rules and your constitutions, but it also can tell you what is going to happen in the future.
Right.
Because things that have passed, that have happened, that the Bible said would happen. Like the main one we can look at is Egypt being destroyed, and it's no longer. Those Egyptian pyramids are places where people throw trash. You can look it up. It's trash everywhere. It's a tourist attraction, but it's trash everywhere. They pull the pharaohs out of their graves and put them on display, and they just disrespect them, right? And the Lord said it would be death. A whole nother people was in the land. The Arabs are in the land. The Arabs run Egypt today. The seed of the children of Ishmael run Egypt today. That's it on that, right?
Right.
All right. So let me get Salakia. I'm gonna go into a little bit of Black and brown. You know, as Black and Hispanic men and women, we need to be united. There's been a couple of things that have happened in the past weeks. I know a lot of people may not be familiar with these podcasts, but there's a podcast called No Jumper, where two of my stories are going to come from. First, I want to get what I left off with last week. If you could you pull up the story with Terrence Howard, the brother that played in Empire? He's supposedly has a new technology for Uganda. I want to go over that real quick. And I just want to speak on the different celebrities, Black celebrities, that when they to a certain level and they feel like they're going to give back, they go right over the hood. They pass their people up and they go straight to Africa. You got it?
Sir. This is from yahoo.com. The heading is Terrence Howard claims to have developed a new hydrogen technology to, quote, defend the sovereignty, unquote, of Uganda.
Now he's got a new technology that he wants to defend. He wants to defend the sovereignty of Uganda. And my question was, why Uganda? Right. Now, Uganda is a country that's it's on the eastern hemisphere of Africa. So it's kind of like more to the east, kind of like in the heart of Africa. All right, go ahead. Let me just say, Uganda had a what they would call an evil dictator. His name was Idi Amin. Idi Amin. I think that was one of Tupac's
right, Idi Amin,
one of his brothers from the Outlaws. Idi Amin, he supposedly killed a lot of his people or oppressed a lot of his people, right? And it's notorious for having dictators, right? But since then, I think they've had different leaders, and most recently, I believe they got in debt to China. They were in debt to China, and they had to sell their airport or give their airport to China, right? But let's just be real. These are Hamites. These are not Israelites. And Terrence Howard and the other celebrities I'm gonna talk about, like Jay-Z and Oprah Winfrey, these are Israelites that come from the bottom in America, and when they get to the top, instead of going to help their people in the hood, they fly to Africa and give aid. Go ahead.
It reads, Terrence Howard's recent scientific claim is stirring up a lot of confusion. Vice reports that the actor claims to have reinvented physics for Uganda's advantage. Last week, during his address to the East African country, Howard revealed his recent findings. Quote, I was able to identify the grand unfied field equation they've been looking for and put it into geometry, unquote, he said, according to the outlet. The outlet also reports, quote, this, Howard asserted, had led to him developing a new hydrogen technology that the country could use to defend itself. Furthermore, the quote unquote empire alum believes that the technology could defend Uganda's sovereignty. Howard's statement is a part of his ongoing visit to Uganda, quote, as part of a broader effort by the country to attract investment from people in the African diaspora.
So, read that last part again.
Howard's statement is a part of his ongoing visit to Uganda, quote unquote, as part of a broader effort by the country to attract investment from people in the African diaspora.
As a part of the country, as in a broader effort to attract people from the diaspora. If you can get the definition of diaspora, so really, actually, what they're doing is the reason he's there is because a lot of these African countries, they are out to stimulate their economies. They're trying to attract African Americans, people to come over, right, and invest and put money into their cities, into their communities to stimulate their economies, right? And my question is, my question is, I came into the truth. If we are really actually Africans, why haven't they never come over and tried to get their long lost loved ones, right? Why have they never stood up for when black men get killed by the police and get shot down? Why have they never spoken out, right? But you see that they have a plan, and their plan is, and I'm gonna show you with that return to Ghana, their plan is to stimulate the economy, right? If you could, you can drop that. What I want you to actually get me the return to Ghana. And right now, I'm going to play a video with Tariq Nasheed on No Jumper when he was in Pan-African and how he backed up from that. So while you find that, I'm going to play this video, all right?
No control of that. Even if I have a beef with them, I don't regret having them in the film because I saw something in their content that I thought the community needed. Personal beefs, I don't trip on that. I'm not a petty nigga, man. That shit doesn't bother me at all. like Umar, me and Umar, we have our little personal things.
Yeah.
Umar's a brilliant nigga. That nigga's
Of
brilliant,
course,
man.
smart.
I love the message that he gives out there. I think he has a lot of genuine love and respect for the community. I always rock with that. I get on code with that. So personal beefs ain't nothing. That's just what it is.
No, so like you and Umar kind of differ. So like explain to the people. So Umar Johnson is a Pan-African. You
Yeah.
are FBA.
FBA.
So explain why you're not a Pan-African and like what's the difference between that?
Now, for a long time, I was promoting Pan-Africanism. This whole thing is us as a whole global black family getting together and building something. Unfortunately, it's been too one-sided. The African diaspora has not reciprocated. And now a lot of the onus is on us and a lot of the weight is on us and it's bogging us down. We can't have a one-sided coalition. We're asking other people from the diaspora, how come you are not reaching out, building a coalition over there? How come everybody just has to come over here and just kind of eat off of us? I've been to Africa begging for dual citizenship in certain countries. Nobody's really biting. Caribbean. Hey man, why don't y'all have some dual citizenship for us? Nobody's biting. So there's not too much of an effort from the diaspora, and that's why a lot of us over here are like, okay, well, if y'all like that, do you? We'll do us for right now.
Well, speaking of effort, again, like there can't be like more effort, right?
Right.
Now, when the George Floyd thing happened, I will give credit to like some African countries.
Now, you heard what he said. You know, he said he's been out, he's noticed that it's a difference. He's been trying to get dual citizenship. He's been trying, get something where it's reciprocal, where it's a 50-50 relationship between Black Americans and Africans. And he said they're not biting, right? The problem with Pan-Africanism, the problem with us believing that we're Africans is that we're not. And it's right in front of our face in how they act with us, how they treat us, right? I said it earlier. If in fact we were that, and let's just say, because there is history, there is records where Africans sold Negroes, right? And I'm sure they know about these. In fact, Ghana actually apologized. One of the tribal leaders apologized a couple of years ago for their role in slavery. I'm sure Africans know about the history, even if they're ignorant and they don't know everything. I'm sure they know, and so you would think they would be like, you know what? I know that I got some ancestors and some descendants in America. I'm gonna go try and find them. They don't do that. They don't do that at all, right? But we do. We do DNA. We do Ancestry.com. We do all of these things and we reach out to them. But now Tariq Nasheed was at the forefront of that whole manosphere black man thing. And he noticed even that, you know what, it's time to fall back. It's time to fall back. And what we're trying to do here is not being reciprocated. And that's because we're not the same. And that's why the truth is so beautiful, because, you have so many black people that are so high-minded and, so blinded by the education system of the so-called white man. Whereas if you came from Africa, you're African. When in reality, we know in the truth that we are not the same people, right? And I know this will upset a lot of black people. But you can look at it this way. The same way that black people come from the same continent as African people, we look similar, but we are not the same. You can look at Asian people. You can look at Chinese and Japanese. They come from the same continent. They look very similar, but they are not the same people. In fact, their bloodline goes back to Ammon and Moab in the Bible, right? We can trace their lineage, but that's basically a good analogy for us not being the same people. In the spirit, you ask a lot of black people, how do you feel about, Africans? They say, well, they don't like us. I already know they don't like us. And so this is the thing. As black and Hispanic people, as black people, we have to understand that we've been lied to and that we've been following lies. We've been following a lot of lies, right? What you got? Give me that return to Ghana If you got one of those.
I do. It's
There's a one, Salake. There is one where it tells you about them wanting to stimulate their economy. Salake. But if you could just give me the one you got for time's sake.
It's from wburr.org. Ghana's year of return encourages Black Americans to return to their motherland.
So the year of return encouraged Black people to return to their motherland. Go ahead.
The first enslaved Africans were brought to British colonial North America 400 years ago, setting in motion the transatlantic slave trade. To commemorate this anniversary, the president of Ghana has been welcoming descendants of those enslaved back to the West African nation to reconnect with their roots and invest in the country.
In what?
Invest
in the country.
Right.
Return to your roots and invest in the country. Go ahead.
Quote unquote, we will work together to make sure that never again will we allow a handful of people with superior technology to walk into Africa, seize our peoples, and sell them into slavery. Unquote. President Nanu Akufo-Addo said.
Salake, read that one more time. What they said. This is game, y'all. I'm telling you, this is some game right here.
This is what the president said. We will work together to make sure that never again will we allow a handful of people with superior technology to walk into Africa, seize our peoples, and sell them into slavery.
They said we will make sure a people that has more technology than us this will never happen again, where they can walk in and seize our people. Now, there are books with Europeans that lived at the time that wrote diaries, wrote memoirs, and tell you they were living on the coast of Africa. They were dealing with the Africans. A lot of Black people like to say, because they hate the Bible, they like to say, oh, the white man went in there and he used the Bible and he enslaved us. When in reality, the white man went in there and made deals and negotiated with Africans, sat down and was able to live, even to intermarry with Africans, right? And be a satellite or a middleman between the African tribal leaders and the English government during the transatlantic slave trade. So we have been lied to as far as what really went down, and we just regurgitate the same BS to one another, right? In order not to have to follow the Bible, because if you follow the Bible makes you become something different. You can't be a drug dealer. You can't be a whore. You can't be a wicked, evil nigga. You can't lie. You can't steal. You can't cheat your people, right? And that's what we want to continue. These conscious brothers smoke all damn weed in the world. A lot of these conscious brothers are what you call whoremongers. You can look at the conscious community and you see the thing that they big up the most is a half-naked Black woman. Talking about Black woman is beautiful. Black woman is God. In reality, you just a different form of a damn pimp. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Hon.
All right, sir. The year-long campaign is expected to draw about 500,000 visitors from the U.S. and around the world.
500,000 visitors from the U.S. Majority of them was African American. I don't think it says it in that article, but you know how much they made on the return to Ghana from African Americans? $1.8 billion. That's how much money they made with everybody. I'm going to the motherland. They had videos of celebrities like Steve Harvey, a couple other celebrities that went to the point of no return, where Black people were put on slave ships, and that was the last area they saw, leaving from the shores of Africa to, wherever their destination was in the transatlantic slave trade. And they really, really pushed that. Now, it doesn't say this in this article, but you can look this up. They said the return to Ghana was a way to stimulate their economy. It had nothing to do. They came out and said that. It was a way just to get money, just like Uganda. And then Terrence Howard, he developed this technology, and instead of putting this technology to defend Black and Hispanic people, he takes this technology to a people who are not even his people. Right? Go ahead.
If I could, it's because when people think of Africa, they think of mud huts.
Mhm.
But in all actuality, Africa is pretty wealthy.
Africa's pretty, but their leaders are whores for gain from riches.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's so much instability. Also,
Right? No,
you know
right.
what I mean. But what does the scripture say about but Canaan? Canaan shall be a servant of
A
servants.
servant of servants. If I could, I brought that up because Negroes get a little bit of money. They forget all about Compton and South Central and San Bernardino, and they go to Oprah, go and build schools. Ludacris go and build schools.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you never hear about you. I don't ever hear about that.
You never hear about You never hear about
For us.
And look, they was bigging up Akon when he went to Senegal, right?
Yeah.
Akon went to Senegal, and he did for his people. Keyword, his people, right? Akon went and took care of his people, right? It was a right thing to do. If you could give me Psalms, what I want. The Psalms 83. Is that what I want? With the nations?
Yeah. So.
That's what I want. Different nations plotting on us. So this whole scheme, this whole return to Ghana thing was all about getting your money, getting Black people's money, gaming you up like they know you like to be gamed up, right? You like to be gamed up as Black and Hispanic people. You love that.
Right.
You love to be told a story, just like a woman. You're just like you're just like a promiscuous woman that's dumb and don't know anything, and some man comes and says something sweet to her, and she just smiling and she he. Yeah, I'll go with you. Yeah, I'll go to the room with you. You know what I'm saying? That's Black and Hispanic people. That's Black people. Anything they told you, come home, return to home, brother. Behind your back, they like what's that on Friday? These nigga, right? They don't like you, right? They telling you to come home, return home, come to the motherland, but really it was all about getting your money, getting your bread. It had nothing to do with brotherhood or being brothers, none of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, if you could give me that. This is the thing that we have to realize. What I just broke down right now with Uganda and with Ghana. This is what it is. It's in the scriptures. Go ahead.
Psalms 83 and 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They that hate thee have lifted up the head. Go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have taken crafty counsel. What Ghana did and what Ghana and Uganda is doing right now is crafty counsel. They're reaching out to Black people in the quote unquote if you look at the word diaspora, it means Jews that were scattered, that were dispersed, right? Of course, you would think that it was the so-called white man, in Israel today, but that's not who he is. In fact, I should bring that out next Wednesday. I should bring out that, give you all the whole breakdown with artifacts and proof and books of who the real Jews are and who they are not. But that's what they did. They performed crafty counsel in telling Black people return home. Nigga, return home to what? My mansion? Return home to what? Vineyards? What am I returning to? Because you sold us. We should have there's two parts to the transatlantic slave trade. It ain't just the so-called white man. Somebody had to sell you. The white man didn't have the power to go into Africa and just take you. He had to negotiate. It's in the books, it's in the history, and I'll bring that out too. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Art.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, right? You could just drop that. It goes into all of the nations. I'm sure if you've been around long enough, you know what this goes into, right? But all of the nations take crafty counsel against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That is the Asians setting up shop. And I personally know sisters that have their shop that I've spoke to that said it's hard to get the stuff because the Asians have a monopoly on it. You got to go through them to get any kind of hair products, right? They took crafty counsel and said, listen, we're going to set up shop and we're going to make all the bread. All of these nations is you go to your liquor store, you go to your local whatever store. It's very rare that it's black or Hispanic that's running it. You know what I mean? It's very rare. And when it is us, we hire our own, right? We'll give back to the community. But these other nations, they do not, right? And a lot of black people will say, yeah, I've been to Africa. They treated me nice. Yeah, they'll treat you nice because you're spending money, right? Yeah, they'll love you, right? What was it? During the Taste of Soul, we were walking through the Taste of Soul, right? That was a couple years back. And
LA.
yeah, in LA, Salakia. And what did we do? What did we do? Well, we ran into what's the brother name? Phil from the Advice Show, right? He has a good little show, right? And I asked the brother, I was asking him about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and are Native American, Hispanics more oppressed because we were in LA. Are Hispanics more oppressed than Africans? Since he identifies as black people being African. He said Africans, right? And I said, if we're African, why has no Africans ever came out here and tried to find their people? And he brought up an incident where he had just been flown to Africa by Ethiopians and he was treated good. And he was saying all these things as far as like how they treated him. And I'm like, of course, you're a black American, treat you good, right? But that doesn't negate the fact that if we were actually their people, I know, hell, if I could do it, if I can go on a database as well as any black American, if you can go on a database right now and look up your ancestors, and what I'm talking about is for free, not have to pay for nobody to do no DNA test. If you could, you would, right? Because you want to know those type of things. Africans don't have that issue that we have. They know who their forefathers is, right? Africans can tell you who their forefathers is, who their father was. They can trace their bloodline, right? As well as Asians. Black people are the only people that have that problem. Hispanic people are the only people that have that problem, right? The only people that have that problem. So why are we prostituting ourselves to another people when they show you time and time again that they don't give a damn about you, but they do care if you put money in their pockets? All of these nations love you and for the things that you do as far as spending money, because you're the number one consumers on the planet Earth, right? Spending all that damn money that you don't have. And it's because we come from a place of always wanting. We come from a place of being the second class citizen and coming from slavery, coming from oppression, and we're trying to move up, like they say, like the Jeffersons. We're trying to get those things that we see on television and magazines and all. But we are the children of God. We don't have to get those things in order to be the number one people. What we have to do is turn our face to the east, turn away from all of the things that we're doing against the Most High, and serve Him, right? And we'll be the number one uno on the block. We'll be number one people once again. All of these people, most of them know who you are. They know who you are. You're the children of God. You just got to know who you are as Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people, right? you could, let me see. So I want to get there's another one I want to go into. Now this one is no jumper also. Give me a second to get it. And while I'm getting it, number one, if you could give me Ecclesiasticus 4 and 9. All right. Ecclesiasticus 4 and 9. I'm gonna stop sharing that source.
Let me read it right now.
Go ahead and read it.
Ecclesiasticus 4:9. Deliver him that suffereth wrong from the hand of the oppressor, and be not faint-hearted when thou sittest in judgment.
Is that it on that?
That's verse 9.
Okay. Keep going.
Be as a father unto the fatherless, and instead of
That's
an
Ecclesiasticus.
Mhm.
Give me Ecclesiastes 4 and 9. So like it.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9. Two are better than one.
Right? What?
Two are better than one.
Two are better than one. Who's those two? Blacks, Hispanics, black and brown. Black and brown. Put it that way. Black and brown is better than just brown and better than just black, right? The point is that we have to come together.
Right.
We're more powerful when we come together, right? You will say something?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
if you keep reading down, it says a 3/4 chord is not easily broken.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
let's
that
get
black.
it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Okay. Ecclesiastes 4:9. Two are better than one,
Mhm.
because they have a good reward for their labor.
Right.
For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth,
Right.
for he hath not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together when they have heat, but how can one be warm alone?
Right.
And if one prevail against him, to stand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken.
Woo wee. Threefold cord is not easily broken. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? Like the point is that we got to come together. Now I'm gonna go into no jumper. This happened a couple of weeks ago with American Cholo, right? So I'm gonna give you the breakdown real quick. So as you seen, we had Tariq Nasheed and American Cholo had been going at it because, of course, Tariq Nasheed is blackity black, right? And he's against Mexicans. He's like, oh well, they don't stand with us, so that's his attitude, right? Well, he had called American Cholo a Mexican coon, and in return, he American Cholo called Tariq Nasheed a ghetto coon because he said he acts ghetto, but he lives in the best place in San Fernando Valley, right? We're around white people, but he acts gangster, right? And he's stirring up. So he came on this show to actually explain himself what he was saying, right? Could you get that for me? Get the door for me. He came on the show to explain because somebody pulled a clip with him actually saying the N-word, right? And so on his podcast, he was telling a story of one of his boys getting out from being locked up, and he was on his way to go see one of his black brothers, and his boy said, I'm not hanging with no N-words. So he was tripping like, what the hell? But he was bringing the story out to show that when Hispanic brothers get locked up and when they come out, they be racist, right? And I can attest to that not only on the Hispanic side, but on the black side, because I've been locked up, and I'm sure some brothers have been locked up that's listening, right? The politics in the prison system make you turn against your people. Now I'll tell you a story. There was like when I was locked up and I was in the penitentiary, I had some cool brothers. I wasn't even in the cells yet, but I was in a dormitory. I had some cool Hispanic brothers that was down with me, right? We kicked it all the time, but when it came to doing things like sharing food or cutting each other's hair, we couldn't do that. Like we had clippers and all of that, but because of the politics, we were not allowed to do none of those things. The politics divide blacks and Hispanics and then make you turn against one another, right? And part of the, the gang lifestyle, a lot of that is ingrained in there also in the streets where you're racist. You see it all the time in the black community. You see it in the Hispanic community, us being against one another, right? So what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to go into this video. I'm going to hit a couple parts of this video. Some of the points that American Cholo had made actually made sense. They made a lot of sense. You understand? So let me get it real quick. Y'all just bear with me because I'm working it. We're sharing it. Let me see.
Imagine if I would have got that clip, edited that part out, and said, "Look what fucking AD's doing." But what are we doing with that? We're just fighting. And what I'm trying to accomplish is to stop the 50 years or so that we've been down here, like killing one another, going to prison. All we're doing is fucking putting people in jail, feeding the fucking system, homie. But then you got people like Adam coming with that bullshit. You run this bitch, Adam. You run this bitch. If you wanted that video down, it could be down. Why? He wants the fucking views. But the views that he wants is on the back of black and brown kids killing fucking one another, homie. That's fucking wrong.
Good night. Good night. So like it. So what I neglected to say is that this whole thing right here, a video was put up. It was a video chopped up about this brother that was just speaking, and the video made him look like he was a racist. And what he's saying is that y'all put this video out, and this video, this No Jumper is ran by a white man named Adam, right? And he said y'all put this video out, but this is going to cause tension in the streets, and you doing it for the views, but black and brown kids are going to get killed over a video like this, right? And so his whole view is like, we need to come together, right? And that this white man that is running this show or running this, this podcast needs to take it down because he's dividing black and Hispanic people, right? And he doesn't understand. So let me get some more. Let me get a little bit more.
Trying to bring the right conversation to the fucking table, but to me it seems like the higher ups don't want to have that conversation. They want you and I at each other's throats still, but I'm done getting at each other's throats because there is no prosperity in that. I want to see your kids playing with my kids. I want to get all this gang shit out of there because we've been killing each other for 50 fucking years. Have our neighborhoods gotten bigger? They're getting smaller and smaller, homie. They're kicking us out. The rent's going up. All the while, we're at each other's necks. I mean, we got to step the game up. The Irish, they were gangbangers. The Jews, they were gangbangers. The Italians, they were gangbangers. Everybody here was a gang, but they evolved. We've been stuck in the streets because we can't communicate with one another. And what I'm trying to do is get that communication going between us, between my homies, between all our homies, so we can actually step this shit up. AD?
I'm with that.
Now, as you can see, once again, this is what we're talking about. Black and brown coming together. Now, what this brother is speaking about is heavy. This is what we do every day in the ISUPK. Black and Hispanic men come together. Our children play together. You know what I'm saying? Our children know one another, are going to grow up with one another, understanding who they are, right? Because Hispanic people, we've been against one another. And the thing is that we have more in common than we actually know, right? But you're going to have to give it a chance. And better yet, you're going to have to learn who you are and come into the ISUPK under Commander Jenny Hanna and find out that there is real brotherhood when we are connected. So let me just get a little bit more real quick. Let me get a little
value for somebody when you wave this flag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
I didn't write on this wall for a reason when I
Yeah,
came here as a
real
guest.
shit.
You feel me? Because I represent something else, dog. You feel me? And it's
Yeah.
not music. But what I'm speaks well of you. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. But I'm gonna be honest with you also and tell you what you look. They taught us as kids coming up. You look like the white man and using minorities against each other. And like the homie said, I don't think you've ever had anybody bleed to death in your arms. I don't think you ever had to answer to a 5-year-old child when their daddy just died down the block. I don't think that you ever been to a funeral where mothers are crying over burying their sons and their daughters. But if you want to go, I'm gonna take you this year so that you can see the relevance of what I'm telling you. And I'm not a dummy neither. So I know that Poetic Flaco, somebody that's not from this land, somebody that's not from this world, has been given free reign to post whatever he wants for some reason.
So what I wanted to get at is the fact that what the brother said. Now these is brothers from the streets. He said you look like the white man that's sitting at the top and got blacks and Hispanics fighting one another. Now I got a book I want to go into. I want you to read some, number one. So this book is called Black West, right? Let me put it right here. Book is called Black West. And in this book, we're gonna go into it. It's a little bit of history in here, right? I'm gonna show you something. If you could read, let me see. Bear with me. It's gonna get good. It's gonna get good. Where we at? Could this is page, what else? This is black. This is page 9. So like, yeah, that's not what I want. Bear with me, y'all. Gonna get it. Let me see what I want. Double on, here you go. Read that for me. Page 8 and 9 was highlighted. I want y'all to see something. See, because No Jumper is a podcast. It's ran by a white man, but he has a lot of blacks and Hispanics that work up under this banner. And there was confusion with this situation, and he wasn't even there. He was at a poker game, right? When the Hispanic brothers pulled up to get some answers for a video that they posted that could turn deadly in the streets of Los Angeles, he wasn't around. So you got blacks and Hispanics having a disagreement that could spill over to the streets, right? And he was nowhere to be found. Go ahead.
This is out of the book The Black West, by William Lawrence Katz. This is the cat that also wrote Black Indians.
Okay.
As well. Page 8, second paragraph. Division of the races is an indispensable element, warned a Spanish official. European governors constantly sought out to destroy the alliances in the woods with tactics of divide and rule.
So the Europeans constantly tried to divide the blacks and Hispanics. What this is talking about is like a lot of times brothers would run away as slaves and they would link up with the Choctaw or the Chickasaw Indians or the Seminole Indians. And when we came together, we were like unstoppable. We were like, in one part of the book, it says that when we come together, like as far as like, having children together, it's like, a physical specimen that is like nothing else in the world, right? Like we were just like unstoppable when the United States government tried to come up against us. Go ahead.
In 1523, Hernando Cortez enforced a royal order in Mexico that banned so-called Africans from Indian villages.
So it banned quote unquote Africans from Indian villages. They put it out like, listen, y'all can't even be around them anymore. And let me just interject. When they use the word Africans, of course, they don't distinguish who we are, but we know that we are Negroes. There was never no slave. You can't find, and I'll bet you any amount of money, you can't find an advertisement for the sale of slaves that says Africans. It always says Negroes. Right. Go ahead.
Right. It says in 1723, John Lemayoni de Bienville, founding governor of Louisiana, urged that putting these barbarians into play against each other is the sole and only way to establish any security in the colony.
So what did he say? It was
he's quote, these barbarians into play against each other is the sole and only way to establish any security in the colony.
So the only way to establish any security is to pit us against one another, to make us fight one another. That's the same as the Willie Lynch letter, right? Do y'all know about the Willie Lynch letter? It said that you want to put dark skin against light skin. You want to pit young against old. You want to pit the man against the woman. You want to divide them. Like, this is a tactic. Like, we think that these type of tactics don't exist today. Like, because we live in a more technological advanced society, we think that, you know, the higher ups are still not doing these things. But it's obvious that these things back then worked. It worked for you to look at somebody more lighter than you as your enemy. It worked for you to look at another dark-skinned person as your enemy because they're from another tribe. It worked for them. It worked for the so-called white man, right? And it works now. It works now, but in a more dangerous way, because people are doing this in order to get views, like Adam on No Jumper, but he's not from our world. So he doesn't know that this actually turns into real repercussions in the streets. Go ahead.
It reads, in 1776, U.S. Colonel Stephen Bull saying his policy was to, quote unquote, establish a hatred between the two races.
So his policy was to establish hatred between the two races, between Negroes and Native American Indians. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to divide us, right? What is the opposite of divide? Go ahead, brother. Together or unite us. That's what we're all about in the ISUPK. Black or brown, unite or die, right? Black and brown men and women and children coming together in a unified effort under Christ, under a black man, right? Go ahead.
In 1776, U.S. Colonel Stephen Bull saying his policy was to, quote unquote, establish a hatred between the two races, dispatched Indians to hunt black runaways in the Carolinas.
So he dispatched Indians to hunt black runaways in the Carolinas. Keep going.
Staggering rewards were offered to Africans to fight Indians and to Indians to fight Africans.
So he gave rewards for Negroes to fight Indians and rewards to Indians to fight Negroes. So that's how you pit people against one another. You bribe them, right? What did Scripture say? A gift heart, right?
Yeah, and also a nation divided against itself shall not stand.
Cannot stand. If you're a nation divided, you cannot stand. You understand? Go ahead.
Let me see. Staggering rewards were offered to Africans to fight Indians and to Indians to fight Negroes. So, like, yeah, this African word is
yeah, the African word threw me off, but I was like, okay, I'll deal with it.
Right.
Go ahead.
In the Carolinas, Native Americans were bribed with 3 blankets and a musket, and in Virginia, it was 35 deer skins.
Good night.
Of Louisiana offered Indians 2 muskets, 2 blankets, 20 pounds of balls, 4 shirts, mirrors, knives, musket stones, and 4 lengths of cloth for the recapture of a single runaway.
Good night.
Damn.
Good night. So I'm gonna go a little bit more to this, and then I'm gonna wrap it up with this video. So let me go back to this video, but I just want to show you how even in history, their whole thing was to divide us. It's in their spirit for us to be divided, because if we were united, they couldn't exist. Now, this man Adam has Black and Hispanic brothers working under him, right? Those Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian brothers could say, "The hell with you," and go start their own podcast. Right? They could do their own thing. Like that's a lot of times in our minds, we think that we need our oppressor to make it. We think that we need our oppressor, so we'll take giving us and hate our brother because of it. Like you said, they was giving them deer skins, musket guns,
right,
all of those things for them to turn on their brothers.
Right.
But in reality, they could have said, "The hell with that. I'm gonna stick with my brothers. I'm gonna stay unified with these brothers, and we still gonna survive. We don't need what you got. We don't." Go ahead.
And if I could, what you're saying is so heavy. Also, too, it's a curse in the Bible that thine eyes shall be evil towards thy brother. And then also, too, sir,
Deuteronomy 28 and 54.
Right. And also, too, if I could, the white man is such a the colonizer, the oppressor is such a demon that this man would pay off the natives. He will bribe them, like they just said, with blankets. And we all know what those blankets brought the Native Indian community. And it didn't stop there that the blankets caused germ warfare, smallpox, right? Which is similar to monkeypox, except the origin is different. But it caused boils all over the bodies of Native Indian reservations and communities by the masses, right? We're talking, it was a fatal disease. And the white man used that and said that Black people were the cause. That's what they were telling the Native Americans, that Black people are the cause of that disease. Stay away from them.
Right.
As a divisive way to keep us from each other.
That is crazy. Your oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. He is truly diabolical, and he truly has no compassion on you or no care for anything else but to gobble up and to eat up and to just acquire everything until there's nothing left, right? And use you for ends to a mean, use you for a man in getting what he wants, right? Let me see. Let me get give me that. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 54.
I'll grab it.
I'm gonna go into this. Let me just finish up with this video. Just get this real quick.
Deuteronomy 28 and 50.
Just hold that.
And then we've all had these discussions when shit happens, when
the community telling people in our community, this is what happens to you when you go against the
Most
grain.
definitely.
This is what happens to you. Speak up for your people.
Get canceled.
You get canceled, and they're trying to cancel me, but they ain't gonna cancel the fucking truth, homeboy. I don't got nothing to hide. I am who the fuck I am. I still live in North Hollywood, a few streets from here. I still go to my hood every fucking day. I am who I am, but I do what I do not for monetary gain, homie. I do it for these people. I do it for my kid. My granddaughter. Her dad's Black, homeboy. That's a beautiful kid, homeboy. I don't see that shit. And those are just people that are trying to divide us. And I say this, pay close attention, brown and Black. This is what they're doing. They don't want us to talk. They don't want us to have these discussions. They want us to kill one another. But we're not gonna get bamboozled anymore by the white fucking devil, homeboy. We're gonna sit here and say, you know what, dude?
Did you hear what that brother said? We're not gonna get bamboozled by the white devil, right? The brother understands, like, you see a lot of Black and Hispanic people in the world, they understand that the white man is the devil, right? You just don't know how to articulate it and know how to put it in a place where you can be okay with him being the devil. And in the truth, you can come into the truth and you learn, like, wow, like we are really God's chosen people. And you'll realize, listen, He is who he is. He was designed to be who he is designed to be. And listen, I don't feel no type of way about it. I just hope that Black and Hispanic people like this brother American Cholo start to wake up and start to see that there is a plot and a plan that is against us as Black and Hispanic men to stay divided, to love the politics in the prison, to come out racist, to come out hating one another. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. You had that for me. Go ahead.
Okay, so Deuteronomy 28:54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother.
And the brother, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother. That's what we did as Black and Hispanic people. We were wicked and evil towards one another. Could you give me Abner? What do I want? I want give me 2 Samuel 2:25. 2 Samuel 2:25. I'm gonna show you Blacks and Hispanics in the Bible hating one another, right? Fighting one another, but then making peace.
2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 25. And the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together against Abner and became one troop and stood on the top of an hill. And then Abner called to Joab and
this is the let me just break it down to you. And I'm sure, young man, you've been in class, different people have been in class where this is after the battle where Abner he killed Asael, Joab's brother, but he had asked him to stop following him, stop running up on him. He asked the brother a couple of times, right? And the brother kept trying to kill him. He said, "Won't you turn away and go get one of those young men? You know, I'm a general in the army. I will put you down." Asael kept coming at him, and he smote Asael. He hit him with the butt of the spear and went through his back, went through his body, right?
right, under the fifth rib.
Under the fifth rib. And so Joab, his brother, was hot, and he was hot with revenge, and him and everybody with him chased the tribe of Benjamin, right? And this is where we at right here. They on a hunt. They trying to get vengeance for what just happened to Asael. Go ahead.
Then Abner called to Joab and said, "Shall the sword devour forever?"
Abner said, "Man, shall the sword, shall the gun, shall we smoke at each other forever? Should we shoot each other in Chirac in the streets forever? Should we keep killing each other forever?" Go ahead.
Knowest thou not that it will be bitterness in the latter end?
Don't you know it's gonna be bitter in the end? It's gonna be all bad. It's gonna be mothers and daughters and sisters and brothers crying from all the bodies slain, from all the brothers slain for senseless violence. Right? Go ahead.
How long shall it be then, ere thou bid the people return from following their brethren? And Joab said, "As God liveth."
He said, "How long shall it be?" He said, "Order your people to stop following your brothers." Because at the same time, we're brothers, right? He said he asked him to order the people to stop following. Go ahead.
Okay. And Joab said, "As God liveth, unless thou hast spoken, surely then in the morning the people had gone up every one from following his brother."
He said, so Joab said, if I'm sorry, read it one more time.
And Joab said, "As God liveth, unless thou hast spoken, surely then in the morning the people had gone up every one from following his brother."
So what it's saying is that Joab said, like, if you hadn't said anything, if you had not spoken, we would have followed you till the sun burnt out. We would have followed you till the morning. We would have pursued you until the morning.
Right.
We would have kept chasing you till we killed you all. Go ahead.
So Joab blew a trumpet, and all the people stood still and pursued after Israel no more.
Now, so like, go ahead.
Neither fought they anymore.
So they didn't pursue Israel no more. They didn't fight anymore. Now, if you go down in the story, Abner came to David and made a truce after he got into it with the king Ishbosheth. He made a truce with King David. saying he would give him the tribe of Benjamin. Of course, the northern kingdom would follow, right? And then King David would be the king of all of Israel. The point is that this was a war against blacks and Hispanics, Indian tribes, northern tribe, southern tribe, against one another, and they made a truce. Now it didn't end well, right? But it was still a truce between people where we said, you know what, going this way, and we can destroy each other forever, or we could stop. We can come together under the banner of the Lord, right? And we can be brothers again.
Right.
And that is the point of that is the point of the ISBK, to bring blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians together again, right? Under one banner. And let's have a truce. Let's turn away from hurting one another. Let's turn away from being racist against one another. Let's turn to the Lord and unite as brethren. Go ahead.
No, what you're saying is so on point. You know, and the dude name that was speaking, the Hispanic brother that was speaking, he was spitting facts. But what we fail to realize, because even in the world, you have brothers that join together. You know, they might tie the Mexican flag with, you know, a black, red, and green flag and crip walk. And you know, go and have smoke weed. That's not the unity we talking about.
Right.
We're not talking about sharing blunts and harmony.
Right.
You understand? We're talking about not sinning and coming together as a nation.
We had this unity.
I look like Lahab.
We had this unity. Salagia, we had this unity. Black Panthers and Brown Berets, right?
Right.
It didn't last.
Exactly.
Right. That's the type of unity we had. And we were trying, but we didn't know our identity. We had that unity, but it didn't last. You know what I'm saying? And it's because we didn't have the Lord. We didn't have our identity. You know what I mean? Like nothing. We can't be unified under a gang truce.
Right.
We can't be unified under anything else except the Lord. Accept the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana under Christ. We can't be unified under anything else, right? It just simply will not work. It won't work, right? If you could give me Psalms 133 and 1.
Psalms 133 and 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
It's pleasant for us to be together in unity, and it's something that, like, when you're around it, you don't even, it doesn't even register. You don't even understand it. Recently, we was out. Where we was at? We was in
San Diego.
San Diego. That was us.
Right.
We was in San Diego after camp. BU Lahab, young man right here. Walk to the beach. What was it? In Ensenada.
Solano.
Man,
Solano.
It was this. Read it again.
Right. Psalms 133 and 1. So I can. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
It was beautiful and pleasant to be with my brothers in unity at the beach. It was late night, full moon. Absolutely beautiful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Brothers chopping up, talking, looking at the moon, looking at the stars. These are the type of things that, you know, happen in the ISUPK. These things can't happen when you from this turf and I'm from that turf. These things can't happen when I'm from South Central Los Angeles, you from East LA. These things can't happen when you're holding all of these things of who you think you are in the world over your head. These things can only happen when you understand that you are an Israelite according to the Bible and history. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that's when it's beautiful. That's when you can actually dwell in brotherhood and sisterhood with other people, with your people, with the people who you look at as like, oh man, they don't like me. I don't like them. I had a bad experience with them. Man, wipe all that away, man. Wipe all that away. Time is getting short, right? in order, if you want to actually survive, if you don't want to die from COVID-19, you don't want to die from monkeypox or lengya, right? You need to get right with the Lord. You need to start understanding that there's only one way to survive in this earth, and it's not through Christianity. So many people have passed in the last couple of months, you know what I mean, from different illnesses and diseases that were Christian. It's not Christianity. If you really want to live not only just a long life, but a fulfilling life, you need to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You need to learn who you are. You need to decide within your mind that you want to change. A lot of our people don't want to change. We don't want to change, or you're afraid to change. Well, listen, if you're afraid to change, come to class and we'll show you how to change. You don't have to be on Front Street. We ain't gonna put you on blast like they do in the Christian church, right? You can come right in here and ask questions and have answers to all of your problems in your personal life. You understand? But as far as Black and Hispanic people, man, we are the same people. We're different tribes, same nation. Black or brown, unite or die, right? And we have to come together. The Lord requires it. And we're asking all Black and brown people to come together under one banner, under the banner of Christ, right? And with that, I'm gonna pass the class to Priest and Officer Stop one. All right.
Menezra Ahmad. Gonna give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Menezra Ahmad Shabbat. Imagine. Right. Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakatah.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
Sar. Sister Christina. Gonna give one courtesy salute to the sister. Menezra Ahmad Shabbat. Imagine. Right.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua.